What's up? It's Richie here with Statifying Football, and these are my previews for Week 4 college football for the Thursday and Friday night games. So there's 1 on Thursday and 3 on Friday, so let's jump into it. The first game on Thursday is Houston against Tulane. This should be actually pretty even. Houston is coming off of a loss to Washington State, but they were up 14-7 and they only lost 31-24. Quarterback De'Aaron King passed for 128 yards and a touchdown, ran for 94 yards and 2 touchdowns. They ran for 239 as a team. However, their defense did allow 440 passing yards, but that's to Washington State, and that's what they do is pass. And they're taking on a Tulane team that's been pretty tough the last couple of seasons. They beat Missouri State 58-6. They had 298 rushing yards, 540 total yards. Their defense had 3 interceptions. They had a pick 6. They only allowed 182 yards. Tulane's a very tough team. They played, even though they lost to Auburn last week, 24-6. They played them well. So this will be an even game. I'm kind of leaning Houston here, but this should be one to pay attention to. Then you got Friday games. Florida International Golden Panthers taking on Louisiana Tech. FIU, they kind of struggled against New Hampshire. They beat them 30-17. But their quarterback, Kalen Wiggins, who filled in for an injured James Morgan, he passed for 127, ran for 187, 2 touchdowns. They had 310 rushing yards in the game, and they did have a punt return for a touchdown. Whereas Louisiana Tech beat Bowling Green 35-7. Quarterback Jamar Smith passed for 267, 2 touchdowns. They had 453 total yards, but they turned it over twice. Coming into the season, FIU looked pretty good, and this could still be an even game. But FIU, they still kind of struggle a little bit, so I'm leaning towards Louisiana Tech there. The next game of the night, Utah-USC. This should be a really good Pac-12 matchup. Utah beat Idaho State 31-0. Quarterback Tyler Huntley passed for 282, 3 touchdowns, and ran for 22 yards. Zach Moss ran for 106 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Brian Thompson had 2 catches for 105 and 2 touchdowns. They had 543 total yards to only 116 for Idaho State. However, they did have 11 penalties, so they should clean that up. And they have a really good defense and a good running game, but they're facing USC, who's got a really good offense. Even though they lost in overtime to BYU, they lost 30-27. It was back and forth. Quarterback Keaton Slovis, he passed for 281 and 2 touchdowns, but he threw 3 interceptions, which is partially what ended up costing them the game. They did run for 171 yards. They had 452 yards. Their defense had 3 sacks, but they allowed 430 yards to BYU. So I think I just picked USC, but this really should go back and forth. It's about and most games come down to who turns it over the most or whatever, but these teams are so even that it could just be one turnover that determines it. Then the last game of Friday, you got Air Force and Boise. Air Force coming off of a nice upset win over Colorado, and Boise State took care of their business against one like Portland State. Both teams are undefeated right now early in the season. Air Force looks like they're going to bounce back from last year. Boise State is Boise State. They're always good. Air Force, they beat Colorado 30-23. Quarterback Donald Hammond in third. Now they run a triple option, but when they pass, they take advantage of it. So the quarterback for Air Force was 7 for 12, but 155 passing yards, 2 touchdown passes. He did throw an interception, but as well as ran for 22 yards and a touchdown. Running back Caden Rensburg for Air Force ran for 146 and a touchdown. They ran for 289 as a team. They had 444 total yards. However, they did turn it over 3 times, so they need to clean that up against Boise State, because if they do that too often, Boise State will capitalize and score. Whereas Boise State, like I said, they took care of business against a 1AA Portland State team. They beat them 45-10. Boise State is the best second half team in the country. Basically, they've allowed 0 points in the second half of all 3 of their games so far. Their defensive end, Curtis Weaver, he tied a school record. He had 4 sacks in the game. Their defense had 6 sacks. They only allowed 244 total yards. They had 2 quarterbacks playing this game, doing well. Quarterback Hank Bachmeier passed for 238, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Backup Chase Cord came in, passed for 103, 2 touchdowns, and ran for 36 yards and a touchdown. And their wide receiver John Hightower, he had a kick return for a touchdown in this as well. They had 491 yards of offense, so they were scoring offense, scoring special teams, holding them down on defense. So this is another evenly matched game for this weekend. All four of these games, Thursday and Friday, are all even. That one I'm leaning towards Boise, but that could be an upset there. So there's my previews for Thursday and Friday game. Check out my other ones for Saturday. Peace.